Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So Oscar De La Hoya may be on his revenge tour, Jay, as he is seemingly trying to poach fighters from the PBC. So De La Hoya took the X to post, and I don't have it up, but I'm going to paraphrase it, Jay. Maybe you can pull it up and read it to the folks. But basically he is saying, anybody that's currently with PBC that does not have a promotional contract, please reach out to me so that I can promote you, is effectively what he's saying. And we know that a lot of the fighters that were on PBC in the past were promoted by Oscar De La Hoya back in the day. And then, of course, they had that split where PBC was essentially born. And if I'm not mistaken, if Oscar did have promotional contracts with those fighters, I believe he was compensated for it or something to that effect. But, of course, that created a rip between Al Heyman, Oscar De La Hoya, Richard Schaefer. And, of course, we still remember some of those emails that floated out there from Oscar De La Hoya and his team. Oscar, we haven't forgotten that. But anyway, so now he's reaching out to these PBC fighters in hopes to I guess promote them and make fights. I think it's a long shot in regards to Oscar De La Hoya. I remember when he was trying to reach out to Errol Spence and trying to get Spence involved with PBC, and Spence replied to him basically saying something like he doesn't like black fighters or something to that effect. I can't remember, but Spence basically ripped him. A lot of the fighters that are currently with PBC are African American. We know that the Golden Boy has a history of, as far as I'm concerned, of saying some things about African Americans that are not favorable. So I think he's going to struggle with getting any African American fighters. And not only that, you got one of the most flamboyant, interesting characters currently in the sport of boxing in Blair Cobb, and yet he can't get a fight on Golden Boy. So how are you going to promote anybody else? You got to get your own fighters fights, and you can't get Blair Cobb a fight. So I think Oscar's wasting his time trying to appeal and court fighters from premier boxing champions. I mean, he can do so all he wants to, but my guess is he got very little calls from anybody. And then when you add in that Stanionis, in the situation that Stanionis had with he and Virgil Ortiz, and how that all played out, and the fact that, at this moment Stanionis is on X basically with some things to say about Oscar De La Hoya and team that are not favorable since the Virgil Ortiz fight has been announced. I would say that most of those fighters are not going to be interested in joining Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. But Jay, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, well, his exact quote is, so people can't say, well, y'all didn't give it, even though you said you're paraphrasing. This is the exact quote off of X. Attention PBC fighters without a promoter contract. Call my headquarters and let's make some good fights happen. Oscar, you haven't made good fights happen with your own fighters. You want to talk about Jaime Munguia? He hasn't fought anyone good. So Zurdo, you boosted him up with all these fake fights against people that no one ever heard of, and he got destroyed by Bivol. Then he fought Joe Smith. Again, get your own fighters first. Also, you have the whole dealings with Ryan Garcia. That's not a good look neither. And then what you talked about, how Golden Boy talked about African American fighters, the whole deal with Blair Cobb putting you out there, the whole deal with Emmanuel Stanionis talking about how y'all screwed him over, how he had to pay out of pocket for fights that fell through. It wasn't Virgil's fault. What happened to Virgil was unfortunate. That was a health issue. Stanionis had a health issue with appendicitis at one point. But you still should have compensated that man of some sort. He shouldn't have had to come out of pocket to get it, do everything he did for that, just to fall flat on him. So that's not a good look. If I see all that going on, I'm not going to you, dude. That ain't happening. I'm not going to you. Nah, you're begging right now, Oscar. You've been all over. You tried to talk about getting Bud. Bud looked at you and laughed pretty much at you because you didn't have nothing there for him. What you gonna give him, Alexis Rocha? We saw how Alexis Rocha looked in his last fight. He got stopped in the 6th round. So that wasn't going to help out. And you're not really, to my best of my knowledge, you're not really paying fighters a lot neither. The only African-American fighter that I know of right now that you have is Floyd Schofield. And he's young. He's a talented fighter. But we'll see where he goes. And I don't even feel like you're really promoting him really good enough, right? Because the kid has some talent. So if I'm any fighter, not just say I'm a PBC loyalist or anything like that. But Oscar, we see what happened. All these fighters left you for a reason. And they continue to leave you. Blair Cobb just came out with an interview saying, he's a free agent. PBC, come get me. So, I mean, no one's messing with you like that, Oscar. You gotta put the proof in the put in work, bro. You gotta prove it. Everything that you've been saying has been a bunch of BS, in my opinion, because you haven't put on any good fights, really, to my liking. You haven't done so. Top Ranks has done better fights than you. PBC definitely has done better fights than you. The zone, Matchroom has done better fights than you. So nah, you don't have any excuse, bro. You don't have any excuse, and that's a sad, sad look. Oscar being on X begging fighters to come to you. It's not a good look, man. You know what fighters are pretty much out of contract for the most part. You have the access to get to that information. Reach out to them. Don't do this X stuff, man. You're not 22 years old. You're like 50, 52. Move like it, man. Move like a professional. This ain't the look for you, Oscar. If I'm a fighter, I'm peeping the game. I'm not coming to you. Not happening, bro.
I wonder if it's more of brand awareness, brand recognition, as he's just trying to get out there on Twitter and talk about just
Not a good brand.
the fact that he's trying to actually make these fights, even though behind the scenes maybe he's not necessarily doing anything that will really truly make a fight happen.
Yeah.
But when you get out in front of people, you can scream to the high heavens that look at all the things that I try to do in order to make the fights. You guys have seen me on social media begging these guys to come over to Oscar De La Hoya, Go to Boy Promotions, and so that we can make these big fights. I don't know if that's the play from Oscar, where he's just trying to repair his brand or just try to improve the recognition of his brand. I don't know. But certainly, to your point, it's not a good look being on X to do it, because I'm quite sure he has the ability to get in contact with any fighter that he wants to get in contact with directly. If that's what.
Exactly.
And it's probably not all that difficult to find out which one of the fighters are no longer under contract with a promoter, even though they may be under contract with PBC. So, and I think, honestly, I think the way that the PBC model works, to be quite honest with you, is I think they choose the promoter that they actually work with. I think PBC is more like Williams and what is that? What's that talent agency called? Williams and Morrison or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I think they act more so like a talent agent, where they kind of just manage the talent, and then they just work with specific promoters, none of which are Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotion. Usually you will see somebody like Tom Brown doing the promotion. I think that's the way that they work. So
Yep.
so I don't think appealing directly to fighters is going to work. I think he probably understands the model and understands that, that's not even the way to go about doing it. He should try to become a promoter of record for PBC. But it is what it is. Keep doing your thing, Oscar, if you feel like this is going to work out for you. Quite frankly, I don't think it's working for
Just
you.
make the damn fights, Oscar.
Just work with the promoters or work with whoever it is that's necessary to make the fight. Stop doing this kind of stuff. But at the moment, he really doesn't have any fighters that would be of any interest to most fighters. Jaime Mugia, Zerto, Ryan Garcia. That's about it. He had Alexis.
I mean, he
Rocha,
can't. He
got
hasn't even
stars.
made the fight with Edgar Berlanga and Jaime Magia yet. Suppose that was in there, and suppose Jaime Magia had multiple opportunities to fight other fighters, and it was him that pulled the plug, supposedly.
Yeah.
Between Jaime Magia, David Benavidez, Jaime Magia, Jamal Charlo, before Charlo went on that 2-year sabbatical or whatever. So I mean, come on, man. We're not buying it. You didn't even want to fight with Tank and Ryan to happen. Ryan had to push that, and and y'all got into a lawsuit over that. And Ryan doesn't even really talk to you right now. He's your biggest star, and he don't want nothing to do with you. He's just stuck in the contract because you won't let him out of the contract. So nah, it's not a good look for you, Oscar. You're a damn good fighter, but a promoter, not so much.
Agree. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to Oscar De La Hoya's comments, and I guess he's trying to poach PBC fighters. Don't think it's going to work, but you let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, M Sports Media, and we are